Games Workshop very kindly sent me out some of the miniatures from the 500 World kind of campaign book they're bringing out. They sent me over the Nightbringer, which I have already done a video on and posted for you guys. And they also sent me Titus and his awesome new retinue. And I'm going to be working on that in today's video. But also I'm going to be trying to tackle an interesting topic, which is why do so many people have a problem with Ultramarines? They're awesome. And in this video, we'll try and talk through that issue, why I think they're awesome and why I think a lot of people are wrong. That's just my opinion, but it's right. Now, before I get into the video, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of my active patrons and everyone there that supports me in all the myriad of ways it is possible to support me, either by just watching the videos, making sure that you're giving those videos a like, making sure you're subscribed, and dropping comments. All those things help support the channel. They help push the videos out to more people and get more people engaged. So thank you guys so much. Also, if you are, of course, a Patreon member, you help keep the lights on and the cameras rolling. And because of that, we give you a lot of extra benefits, such as an extra video every single week. We give you the podcast episodes. We give you access to a private Discord server. And we also give you giveaways every single month. We gave away a Night Titan. We gave away an airbrush and compressor. And this month, we are giving away a very nice start to a Grey Knights army. So you'll get 10 Grey Knight Terminators and 10 Grey Knights in power armor sent to one lucky Patreon member at the end of this month. If you want to get a chance of winning that, please just sign up with Patreon, linked down below. Okay, without further ado, let's dive in and have a look at this awesome Space Marine unit. Okay, so in today's video, like I said, we're going to be working on Captain Titus, and we'll be working on the 2 Space Marines that come in that set as well, which is of course the Wardens of Ultramar set. The 4 human auxiliary people will be done as a Patreon exclusive video for next week. These models are absolutely stunning. Like, just, I honestly can't get over. No, look, let me just reiterate this first. I am an Imperial Fist player first and foremost. That is my favorite Space Marine chapter. That is the army that I collect for both Horus Heresy and Warhammer 40,000. But I can't help but just love the releases that the Ultramarines have gotten in the last couple of years. Like, they've gone from that really generic army, which was just, you know, the standard Space Marine kits left, right and center with upgrade parts. And yes, they did have a whole host of kind of custom characters back in the day with like Cronus and Sergeant Talion and, you know, all those. They were all amazing, but the army itself was quite like plain. It was a normal Space Marine army. But now it just feels like they're just getting this whole host of awesome extra things, which I, for one, am here for. I mean, if you just look at the selection of miniatures that we have gotten in even the last couple of weeks with the re-release of Marneus Calgar back in his Terminator plate, in my humble opinion, where he belongs. He looks absolutely incredible. We obviously got sent the Victrix Guard set, which, you know, added on top of that is an incredibly powerful set and is maybe a little bit too powerful in the current setting of Warhammer 40,000. But as for the miniatures, they're beautiful. You add those two things together and you almost get the beautiful old Marneus Calgar and Command Squad retinue. It's something that I plan on doing, is buying one more box of Victrix Guard so I can get one more guy with the kind of winged faceplate and the axe. Throw him in with the original 3 and then you literally get Marneus Calgar and his original Command Squad just Primera sized. Added to that, the addition of things like getting Arios, so you get the 6th Company Captain now as well. First seen in the Dawn of Fire series and now with his own range of books. And me being such kind of a fan of the books and novels, characters that appear in books, being able to put them on the tabletop leading squads and leading armies is a really big deal for me. I love it quite a lot. We've obviously got Uriel Ventress, captain of the 4th Company, which is amazing. And now we have Titus, captain of the 2nd Company. So that's 4 of the captains straight off the bat we've received in the last little while as characters to be fielded on the tabletop. And I just think that adds such a nice kind of characterful flair to different armies. If you and all your friends decided y'all wanted to do your own Ultramarines armies, you could base them on different companies and have different leaders. Or if you wanted to do a campaign where you were playing with the entire Ultramarines chapter as one thing, particular games, and you would, you know, deploy different captains depending on which companies you were using. And I just think you could tell a really cool narrative story. And then that kind of brings us to that whole crux of the amount of like disdain and hatred that Ultramarines get online. I feel like it's just unfair and unfounded. I understand that they get more releases than everything else, but they are, of course, the poster boys. They are the thing that make Games Workshop a hell of a lot of money. Like, I thoroughly believe that Ultramarines by themselves make more money for Games Workshop than all of the Age of Sigmar game. That, like, if you got something like that in your back pocket, why would you not continue to release awesome kits for it? And I know we all have our own armies out there. I wish, give me back Dorn. Can I have Dorn, please? Can I have some Imperial Fist specific units? Maybe we'll get some Primaris Breachers, Shields and Bolters. That would be super cool. Can I get something like that? Maybe they'll do it eventually. But I'm not bitter that I'm not getting it yet. I come from a time where, releases from Games Workshop were once a month. One Saturday a month, they would drop all the new releases. And some of those Saturdays was like, okay, this is a Warhammer Fantasy release. You're going to get some Wood Elves now. Okay. The next one we're doing is some Lord of the Rings stuff. Okay. And then you'll get a 40k one. So you're talking about going an entire year and you would only get maybe 5 or 6, Warhammer 40,000 releases in a year. Now you get Warhammer 40k releases pretty much every weekend. So I know some armies don't get as much as Ultramarines, but everything gets a hell of a lot more than they used to. And I think it's kind of like, I think that's awesome. We get access to so many awesome miniatures. It's really difficult to keep up with all the new releases. And I just find that me as a player and a person that collects loads of different armies, it is okay. I can't really keep up with the release schedule as it is. So I'm happy to just bide my time, paint up my war dollies as they come, and be content. And there's that whole added thing. It's like, if you can't beat them, join them. Nobody's stopping anybody from collecting an Ultramarines army. I've always said as well, people who are starting to get into the game, whether it be Warhammer 40,000 or Age of Sigmar, what army should they collect? Now, obviously, that's a really personal question. Depends on a whole host of different reasons. But if they genuinely have no idea and they're asking me for my opinion, I will always say collect Space Marines and collect Stormcast Eternals. Because you will get new models every single year forever. They will always get new models because they are the kind of poster army for each kind of game system. And I'm glad that anyone that disdains Space Marines and stays away from them entirely, to me, that's just insanity. But obviously you understand people don't like certain things, but just you're cutting out so many model kits from your potential collection. I mean, if you are someone that just solely collects Dark Eldar, then maybe I can look to you and be like, okay, I can understand why you might be a little bit annoyed. I mean, the last big release we got a new Plastic Archon and a new character, and that's it. And now we have to wait God only knows how long for more Dark Eldar. I understand that as a Dark Eldar player myself, but because I'm not solely a Dark Eldar player, maybe it doesn't sting as much. Like, as me painting up this squad now and me painting a squad of Victory Guard, I have a Lord Guilliman painted, and I have both versions of Marneus Calgar painted and all that, and I don't collect Ultramarines. I don't do them. So they're just nice models to paint and put on the shelf and admire. Maybe one day I will do a couple of Intercessor squads and a Hellblaster squad and a few vehicles and actually put all the models together and create a small force and play some games. But that's not on the cards right now, and that is okay. Also, there's a prevailing theory, because obviously I did post on my Instagram the other day, kind of posing the same question. I showed images of the kind of the raw models as I just constructed them and asked the same thing. Why do people dislike Ultramarines so much? And a lot of people came back in the comments and talked about it's just that kind of internet thing you do. It's just everyone else kind of craps on them, so you kind of join in and crap on them too, just so you can kind of feel involved in the community joke as a whole. It's the same thing going on with Tau. So many people feel like collecting Tau is a bad thing. There's so many reels out there with, your firstborn child collecting their first army and they decide to do Tau and suddenly they're a disappointment and you're kicking the child out of the shop. And also, I love Tau. I think they're absolutely incredible. What a range of miniatures and models. The playstyle is fairly interesting if you use it correctly. I enjoy it to my core, and I will always kind of stick with things like Tau and defend things like Ultramarines. So maybe those are the reasons people don't like it. I don't know. I'd love to open up a bit of a discourse in the comments as to why. And I don't want people to just chime in being like, oh, they're ultra smurfs and they're just crap. I mean, that doesn't help anyone. A bit of, constructive conversation, I think, would be really cool. Both pros and cons, I think, if we can get a bit of discourse on both sides. So if you do want to chime in, please do add in some comments below. I will get back to everybody. We will have a little bit of a chat about it, because I am genuinely curious. Because it's like seeing a beautiful release and people just giving out about it because it's not their toy. That's okay if it's not always their toy. Anyway, I am thoroughly enjoying painting these models. I decided to go a little bit deeper with these models than I would usually for a video. As you guys know, I'm usually more of a quantity style kind of miniature painter creator type thing. So I would have usually just picked, for instance, Titus, but I decided to paint all 3 Space Marines out of the kit. and paint up all of them. And I'm really glad I did. It took 2 days, obviously much more time for much more model. And these are very detailed models, very in-depth miniatures. There's a lot going on, and not even a lot going on in the sense of one thing. Each model is so individual that there's this big extra thing. So this guy, for instance, you got to spend a lot of time painting his shield, his big marble shield. This guy has an entire banner on it, and then obviously you've got Titus, who's got his beautiful chainsword, mastercrafted bolter, and he's got a big glorious cape fur-lined on his back. So you get to do all these like standard things, which is, you know, my traditional Ultramarines blue that I do, which I know is a little bit different to everybody else's Ultramarines blue, since I layer with, you know, Caldor Sky. And it's not the done thing. Everybody likes them to be a little bit more kind of paladin, a bit more sky blue. I like them a bit more cobalt blue, as they're described in the books and the novels. Hence why I go with Caldor Sky and layer it up. And then obviously you get into standard gold, and obviously we're going through doing things like parchment, and these guys have got tabards on, which is very befitting for things like Vanguard veterans and any of the veteran kind of status symbols you are as a Space Marine. They tend to steal from the Black Templars and get some awesome tabards these days. Obviously many other details which are just, you know, standard and traditional for Ultramarines. And then you just get all these extra little side projects. Like, I thought the banner was going to be a real chore to paint, but it's actually a really like aesthetically pleasing banner. It's broken down really nice. I think the size of the detail is really good. The size of the Aquila is gorgeous. The big white U is gorgeous. Some laurels, and then obviously the Ultramarine symbol in script. It's a very, very enjoyable thing from start to finish. Whereas you then jump across and go look at the Victrix Guard banner, which is actually in my hand as I'm speaking. And it has got so much going on for it. I do not think that's going to be an enjoyable banner at all to paint. Maybe I'll do that as a video by itself, like, God help me with this banner. How do you paint it, and try and do it? But if you want to see that, you want to see the Victrix Guard banner video, then let me know, and I will torture myself and get that video done for you guys very, very soon. Obviously, we do have the 500 Worlds campaign coming forward as well. And that's another thing that I really like, and another thing which I think it's important to know, that releases are not just random. They are coming through with the 500 Worlds campaign. Well, sorry, it's not a 500 Worlds campaign. We thought it was. That's just the first, you know, part of this new narrative book series. I think Huron Blackheart has the next version of it. But we know that Titus is such a pivotal character, so they give you Titus, captain of the second company, and a whole host of new miniatures, which I think is really cool. No one complained when Minkalesk got, like, I think 3 versions of that model. It was 3 versions of that model, wasn't it? She's a cool guard captain. She was a conscript, and then she was a sergeant, and now she's I think she's a marshal now. So yeah, I'm glad that they straight away jumped in and gave us a proper Titus, a captain model, and he's going to play a pivotal role in, like I said, the new stories. And I think if you give us awesome campaign books, give us the resources to be able to play those campaign books and make them interesting and new. Hence the Nightbringer, which is obviously a very kind of historically important adversary for the Ultramarines. And then give us a new character to lead the Ultramarine force. I think it works out great. It worked out great when we did it before with all the other thematic things. Like, remember, Gullman came back as part of a narrative series of stories of the Triumvirate of the Primarch and stuff like that. So I don't think I'll ever besmirch Games Workshop for giving us new characters, even if they're new versions of old characters. But once again, I can also see the other side of that. They're getting multiple versions of already existing characters, and then there's other characters that haven't been done at all. So I can understand both sides of it, but I think with the rate that Games Workshop does bring out characters, we'll kind of allow it. They're giving us, you know, 50, 60, 70 releases for 40k a year. So they've got their hands full. I think they're doing us right when it comes to the number of releases. Now, if they could print enough of them for us to buy them, that'd be great. As I'm making this this particular video here, I know that Titus has been sold out since launch day, which obviously tells you that there's quite a lot of Ultramarines fans out there. Or else just a lot of, you know, turbo power gamers that want this nasty character in their army. I don't know. Obviously, I've done the Nightbringer as well, and like I said at the beginning of this video, I shall be doing the 4 other human auxiliary members, which are part of the Ultramarines Planetary Defense Force, or the Ultramarines kind of Imperial Guard style army, which is another thing we've never seen before, and it's an entirely new avenue which they've gone down. And one thing I would love as another Ultramarines release, if they want to push that auxiliary thing a little bit further, I would love for them to do a 10-man box of Ultramarines Auxilia to go alongside these. I don't think that's a bad release. I think that would be an incredible thing to add in. I mean, Ultramarines very rarely go to war without having some auxiliary forces. The Arios book that I'm currently reading, where they're you know, reclaiming a certain reach in the Ultramarine sector in the 500 worlds. Arios brings the 6th company with him, which is just a reserve company, and it's under strength. He goes in with about 55 battle brothers into the reach, and he brings 250,000 Ultramarines auxilia. So that's the kind of numbers that the Ultramarines will bring to bear in humanoid form when they're going on campaign. And I, for one, think that's super cool and would really like to see what Space Marine Auxilia would look like in miniature form. If the models that came in the Wardens of Ultramar box set are anything to go by, I think they're going to be pretty incredible. So yeah, please, 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 Games Workshop, if you somehow watch this video, if you listen to everybody's wants, to give us that box set. In fact, let me know, is it other people's wants, or am I just a crazy Space Marine fanatic that wants everything all the time more? Do you guys want Ultramarines Auxilia box set or a standard Space Marine Auxilia? Would they look like not the Astro Militarum, but the Sole Auxilia from the Horus Heresy? Would they look something more akin to that? Better equipped, better armed? I don't know. I don't know what I would want in them, but if they look like the boxes, the models that came in the Wardens of Ultramar set, then I think I'd be pretty happy with the final result. Okay, as you can see, I'm coming to the end of painting up this set now. The models are really starting to take shape now. I'm really enjoying it. We've obviously, the last few details, I didn't go with specific colors and show them off. The green laurels on the banner, you can do it whatever you want. Even so far as the skin tones on the models. If I added in how to paint the skin on these 3 models, I would add another 10, 15 minutes. No, that's like 10 minutes onto the video. And I've done how to paint skin a million times before in other videos. So I will not be showing you the exact colors that I used or how I painted them. But just know that they're really nice. Like, they're such well sculpted faces. They look exactly like the characters from the video game, which is really nice. Obviously there's 2 Caucasian and 1 kind of a black skin tone face, so I had to play around with those skin tones. I haven't painted many black faces before, so it was a lot of fun trying to learn how to get that looking kind of cool and looking nice. Obviously we've done salamanders before, but salamanders are not black face, they're literally charcoal black faces. So yeah, it was fun, and I think we did a fairly decent job of it. Last few details, adding the gold and silver highlights to the metallic parts of the models. And like I said, the more I painted these guys, the more I fell in love. And the more I pulled out and sprayed the rest of the kind of new Ultramarines models that I hadn't painted yet. So maybe I'll be painting some Ultramarines in the very near future. Anyway, this is the final result. This is what we are left with. As you can see, the models look absolutely incredible. I had such a fun time painting them. And yeah, hopefully you guys feel the same way I did, that you are happy to see all these awesome released from Games Workshop for the Ultramarines. Let me know also in the comments if you think there is something that has been overlooked in the 41st Millennium kit-wise for a long time, whether it's something from your army that you think Games Workshop should really do. Please do let me know in the comments below as well. I'd love to have that conversation. Maybe there's a few eggs out there that I haven't thought about that they really need. And yeah, let me know. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it and it was slightly informative. And I look forward to talking to you guys in the comments below. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one.